Yes. If it is noon Eastern time on a Wednesday, and it is because I'm checking the clock right now, that means it's time to talk hemp. It's always time for the High Noon Hemp Show. If you're watching live or on video later, thank you. You are awesome. You can find us in many places. We're on Facebook, the Temptations Beach Facebook page. You can also find us on YouTube at the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel, which does have a better picture and quality if you want to go check us out there. If you're on Twitter/X, whatever it is you call it these days, at Temptations is where you want to go to find us there and spread the word about hemp. I'm Stoner Jesus. Of course, you can find me in various places doing various things. He is Beach aboard the USS Temptations, and he loves hemp, as you can see. Beach, how are things this week in the world of Temptations?
Beautiful. It's beautiful. I know we're closing in on harvest, all the harvesting getting done just about everywhere with hemp. But once again, it's high noon. The hemp show is here. The alarms are going off. What else can we do on a beautiful Wednesday here in the high state area? It is true. I am high above the Ohio River on the USS Temptations Planet Everywhere Studios today for this show. Remember, folks, the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy. And with that, we now do our pledge. Put your hand on your hemp. See, it's hemp. My shirt is hemp, so hand on my hemp. I pledge. Oops, so wait to get it up there so everybody can read along. I pledge allegiance to the hemp fields of America and to the soil in which it is planted. One seed under the sun with responsibility, sustainability, and thrivability for all.
Indeed.
Deep indeed. Thank you, Coach Freddie, for writing that. And thank you, everyone, for participating in the pledge today, if you did. And you can say that anytime you want. Wake up in the morning. Put your hand on your hemp and say the pledge, the I Hemp Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Well, welcome everyone to the High Noon Hemp Show. We're going to start out like we usually do with our product spotlight. 4 from the store, 1 from my door, as I like to say. This last week it was hats. This week it's drinks. We got a whole new big cooler full of delicious new drinks. These are 10 milligrams THC. A company called Mini Grown, which I like. Mini Grown. They come in like mocktail flavors. You got a lemon drop, lemon droplets, they call it, the Minorita, the Cosmo, the Sex on the Sandbar, which I can tell you is not as good as Sex on the Beaches. Moscow Moose, and Bold Fashion instead of an Old Fashion. Some of you don't even know what an Old Fashion is, but it's called a Bold Fashion, which I love. Welcome to the show. And so once again, those are 10 milligrams. So that's a decent little dose of THC, legally extracted from industrial hemp. Still good and legal. The next one, this is my personal favorite out of all of the drinks I have ever ordered already. But this is squared, but it's sour grape flavored soda.
Wow.
And I can tell you again, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but grape is possibly, if not my favorite all time. I guess, like, I don't want to call it sweet flavor, but definitely sweet on that sweet list. Sour, it makes it even better because I love sour stuff. But these are 5 milligrams THC. So I think that's really, a good dose for a drink, because you drink it pretty quickly. Most people drink them pretty quickly. It gets going through the system decently fast. Still got to work its way through everything to get to that endocannabinoid receptor system that we have in our brains, and then out to wherever we need it, or it stays in the brain because that's where your brain needed it. But anyway, sour grape soda if you like the grape stuff, for sure, or the sour stuff, and you like the THC stuff, it's all in one can. That's that. There it is. The next drink on the list is, you'll probably recognize this name, 3Chi. They are probably one of the most recognized. Hey, Josie. Cut it out. They are probably one of the most recognized. And again, they started out more Delta 8. We used to sell their Delta 8 carts. Now, obviously, they've moved to THC as well. They actually sponsor a NASCAR car. But, and so and they have always had quality products. So I can only guess, and I haven't had a chance to try these yet. As you can see, you got a black raspberry, a pineapple, and a watermelon are your options. So if you like any of those drink options, I'll probably try the black raspberry first, maybe watermelon. I do like a little watermelon every once in a while. But take some watermelon with my sour grape soda. Man, it's got to be good for me, because look at all the fruit I'm getting.
Yeah.
And you can get that too, if you so choose. And the last one is Heirloom Lemonade. And of course, I'm a big fan of lemonade. Probably one of the only things, if I'm not drinking water or coffee or coffee flavored water, as I like to say, I drink lemonade flavored water. I've always liked lemon in my water, and I've always liked lemonade. To make the point, in case, I have both grape and lemonade mixed drink, and so I actually make a lemonade grape drink. And so these, once again, I can take one of these, one of the grape sodas, do the old walrus, and I got my grape lemonade THC. And these are, I forget. I think they're only 5. Yeah, these are only 5 milligrams. The 3Chis are 5 milligrams as well. Yeah. And so there you go. The drink thing is really big out there. Almost every bar I've been in so far, or recently, and I don't go out a whole lot, has added some canned THC drink to their bar menu, so to speak. So, the drink thing is big. Once again, legally extracted from industrial hemp, 100% legal. Going to remain 100% legal, at least. Which honestly, they can't touch this one even with the Farm Bill, I don't think, for a little while. We'll talk about that in the news. Well, there you have it. 4 from the store, which was actually more than 4, but 4 lines of drinks from the store. Now, the one from my door, I've actually been using quite a bit these days, and that is my hemp footstool. I actually put some added. It's looking a little low right there, but I just recently added some peanuts, another little bag of peanuts to it, because if you need to refill your bags, I'm flaking on the term for this.
Beanbag.
Yes. Beanbag. That's it. I just throw some styrofoam packing peanuts in there to kind of fill it back up. And so it tends to work quite well for your bean bag. I can't believe it. Man, my memory, I must be getting old or something. I am getting old. Can't think of that. So there you have it. There's the one from my door. Props up my feet when I'm laying or sitting on the couch watching the TV on the USS Hemptations. And so there you have it on the product spotlight here on the High Noon Hemp Show. Da-da-da. Dun-dun-dun.
So that of course brings us to what everybody's been waiting for. First 10 minutes of the show, you're like, okay, this is great, but I'm really here to see what Beach is wearing, because it's big. It's big. I don't have to say it's big. The word on the street is that it's big. There's big stuff going on. Big hemp stuff. And of course, we talk about it every week. We have for now over 6 years on this show, closing in on soon. And well, sometime this season, or sometime this year, we'll close in on 300 episodes. Incredibly, and in each one, we talk about Beach's outfit. And Beach has a lot of hemp and is always wearing hemp and likes to tell you about the hemp that he's wearing because that spreads the word about hemp. So we do the beachwear segment. All I have to do to kick off the beachwear segment, as always, is say, what are you wearing, Beach?
It's true. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you'll know here on the High Noon Hemp Show. So my hat there, that is a Satori Movement hat made by, I believe, Grassroots. Pretty sure originally. The t-shirt is an Ono tee. You can get those. You can find your Ono tees out there online if you're looking for them. But that's printed with kind of the military thing. So, and then my military number is 1937 420. 1937 because that's when they made hemp illegal in the United States, and 420 because 420. And my shorts are INI cargo shorts. Now, originally I got these at the Hempist online, and I don't know if they're even still available, but these are like literally some of my favorite shorts that I've ever purchased. I have a couple different colors of these. I love them. And great pockets, obviously. They have a tie string and belt loops if you really, if I needed it. And so I really do like my INI, and that's just INI shorts. In my pocket there, you can see my Green Springs Technology pen hanging loose out there. Underneath it all is a pair of Hempist briefs. Speaking of Hempist, which I do know are still available, and the last time I went to their website, were actually on sale. And they have a new hemp leaf pattern. And so check those out if you're in the market. The socks are Satori. So socks are Satori on my head, Satori on my feet. And then, of course, a nice pair of Adidas shell toes. And so there you have it. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you know. Here on this fine High Noon Hemp Show Wednesday. Ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba. So, we had the vice presidential debate last night. I did not watch it. I was at the medical marijuana meetup, which ended up being a very good event again. But in lieu of the presidential debate last night, I feel like I have to bring this commercial out. We'll probably have to see it at least one more time. Might even have to do it next week or all the way up. This may be the only commercial you guys see until the elections are over, because it is my favorite election-related commercial, I think. So let's watch this commercial, and then we'll be back with some news.
What is your stance on Hemptations? I am pro Hemptations. I am anti-Hemptations. It is said Hemptations has the largest selection of hemp on the planet. Thoughts? My opponent would say food and fiber, but I say CBD and plastics. Simply not false. I would go on to add body products and paper. What's the one location you want everyone to know about? Well, they are all great, so start with the one closest to you. I say adventure out to the store furthest from you. Closing words? Use hemp to help the planet. Help the planet by using hemp. Having Hemptations? I am having Hemptations.
I am having Hemptations. Again, that's and that was it was a 1 minute, and then we actually broke it down to a 30-second as well. But the 1 minute version of that one is just, I so much like it a lot. Anyway, I do want to make a couple corrections to the news. So I kind of implied, and I don't know if I don't, because I went from talking about Portugal to South America. Obviously, Portugal is in Europe. And then what's funny is I found out that Portugal is a favorite amongst expatriates, as they call them, which are Americans who move to foreign countries. They now have a new term for them, which is like computer related. Like, so if you move to a foreign country, because you can do your job on your computer, then you're referred to as this instead of expatriates. But apparently there are a lot of Americans who have moved to Portugal. And this is in reference to the fact that we were talking about Lisbon and how they have the company is putting 500 or so hemp plants around Lisbon, Portugal. And, you know, at the time I didn't know much about it. Now I have learned that not only has Lisbon been overpopulated by Americans, but even some of the smaller little cities in Portugal. But anyway, so there you have it. There's an update there. Portugal is in Europe, part of the EU. And then the Nikes that I showed, and I might have to get some more proof, because now I'm not convinced that those actually were hemp material. I believe that they may have just been hemp in color description. They made it sound like in the description of the shoe itself that it was actually hemp material, and I might have to go back and double check. But I did see yet a release of the same shoe, and there is no hemp material on it, even though it's a different colorway. So anyway, to double check on that, when you're looking into your ACG hemp Nikes, make sure it's actually hemp material, not just hemp colored. That happens every once in a while. And Nike likes to do both, which really pisses me off, okay? Because they'll describe a leather shoe as hemp colored or hemp, and as much as they'll make a shoe that has hemp material in it and call it hemp. And so they kind of drive me nuts there. But you'll find that sometimes as hemp as a color description, as opposed to actually a material. A little confusing, much like hemp oil out there in the world. Hemp oil is awfully confusing to some people because a lot of times you don't know if they're actually talking about CBD or hemp seed oil. And it's still an issue because there are certain sales platforms that will not let you sell CBD. So you describe it as hemp oil. You know, the one that really gets me is the company that sells it's like 180,000 milligrams of hemp oil. And so someone's thinking, oh, well, that's a lot of CBD, but it's really just hemp oil, seed oil. It's a big jar. So of course it's going to be a huge amount of milligrams. But it's really kind of deceiving, you know, because up until this point, we've never sold hemp seed oil by the milligram. So that's kind of one of those buyer beware things out there. If you're looking on some of your larger internet sales platforms, and they say hemp oil, and you think it's because it's milligrams and it's CBD. It's not. It's just hemp seed oil, which is great for you too. But they might be taxing you a little bit, making you think you're buying something you're not. So you got to be careful. You've got to be careful, folks. So as far as I know, no news is good news, because I have not seen the signing of the Farm Bill, and I'm pretty sure that the deadline has passed. Now, I don't know, and I didn't actually see anywhere where they extended the deadline for this year. I think it's going to be a holdover until next year, which is good, because hopefully when they go back to the tables, they can get rid of some of this very confusing, intoxicating hemp verbiage of the whole thing. So we'll see what happens there. But apparently they can't get along on anything, and this is probably a good thing at this point. I don't know what they were really fighting over, and I don't know if it was the wordage of the hemp part of it. I don't think that it was. I think it was bigger issues. They're probably fighting over subsidies.
Yeah.
But either way, hopefully when they do go back to the table, that maybe some of that industrial hemp stuff will be changed. We'll see. This is a very cool little basic hemp house built in Hawaii. I don't know if it's the first hemp house to be built in Hawaii. But once again, very, very basic. It's interesting that it's up on stilts. So I would assume that it's maybe near the water or susceptible to possibly flooding, or that's just how they wanted to do it to level it out on the little hillside that it's on. It's a 3-bedroom. The next picture you can see, and this is, yet another kind of reference as to how they build the hemp walls. And this is what I really like it, because again, this was framed in, and then the hemp was sprayed down probably, and you can almost see how the different layers of the hempcrete go up the wall, which is really neat. And then I've seen sometimes where they actually change the color of the hempcrete, and then you have like a whole stripe of another color, which is some really neat hempcrete work, because you can. I have seen a lot of reds and browns, even yellow, as far as the coloration of the hempcrete. But and I'm sure that you can probably dye it any color that you want to. I wish I had a reference to reversing or backing up right now, since there's the beeping going on is backing up. I'll do one of those backup sounds. Can I do that? So let me make this straight. You can color the walls just about any color you want. Now, you can color the hempcrete just about any color you want. And so that's pretty neat. And again, just that this is super basic. Anybody could do this. Anybody could build this hemp house, honestly. And that, I like it. I'm not, I don't want you to think this is the house that the Joneses should keep up with, not like mega mansions and big stuff. I want people to have, small 3-bedroom houses. Works perfect anyway. And made out of hempcrete. And the whole reason that, once again, this person chose to use hempcrete because it was environmentally friendly to them and the planet. They were doing the research. They wanted to build a home in Hawaii, and after doing the research, decided that hempcrete was the best choice. The insulation properties, the fact that not only does hemp take more carbon out of the atmosphere than trees, but it continues apparently to suck in carbon once it's even in the hempcrete. And so, you can't get much better than that one way or another. And then, of course, its insulation properties keeps the place cool in the warmer months, and warmer in the cooler months. And depending on where you are in Hawaii, I don't think it gets real cold unless you go up some of the mountains, and then you can actually ski in Hawaii. But if you need it to be warm, then it's going to help keep them warm. If they want it to be cool, it's going to help keep them cool. And of course, flame retardant and antimicrobial, antibacterial, all those good things when it comes to the hempcrete, and using it for what they call insulation, because we cannot use it for load bearing. And so, as you saw, there was still a wood frame, which would be the load bearing frame of the house. And then the hempcrete is sprayed in between that, as they basically describe it as insulation. All right. If you live in Georgia, the new regulations have gone in, and this is just, once again, ridiculous because this is 21 and older for CBD. And again, Georgia, you've gone out of your mind, honestly, with 21 and older for CBD. You have stricter licensing issues to sell it, enhanced testing as far as the products go, and then I guess clearer product labels. And again, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with enhanced testing, and I'm okay with clearer product labels. We don't need to have stricter licensing, especially for CBD. It's CBD. I don't even understand why the people of the government of Georgia thinks CBD is even a threat. Like, again, this is just ridiculous. And I understand that by doing this, and it's really kind of lazy, and I hope that something happens. And I don't know how or what's going to happen, but it's really kind of lazy because by doing that, then I think that and I don't know how it was worded. I think that then they can put that blanket 21 and older over all of the intoxicating hemp. And so it's like they started at the bottom with the one that's not intoxicating at all, CBD, that has no intoxication benefits and no euphoric value to anyone. And once again, demonized it, made it seem like now, people that want to try CBD now are going to be like, I mean, even older people. Like, oh, you have to be 21 or older. Why? Is it like alcohol? Like, I don't drink. Again, you've demonized CBD by making it 21 and older even more, and it's going to shy people away from it when it can help them and needs to help them. They want it to help them, but we'll see how that all works its way out. But that just went into effect yesterday, again in Georgia. So if you're going to get some CBD, take your ID in Georgia. One way. All right. So at the National Agricultural Meeting, they addressed the intoxicating hemp issue. And I quote, "We have legalized cannabis. We just call it hemp." And again, this is at the National Agricultural Meeting. So as educated as this person is, okay, yes, cannabis is hemp. And guess what else? Cannabis is marijuana. So what's your point? Again, it's really kind of, again, and what I think is funny is they didn't say we've legalized marijuana. We just call it hemp. They said we legalized cannabis. We just call it hemp. And again, marijuana and hemp are all cannabis. It's all the same thing, sort of, as we know. We got to have that 0.3% or less in THC for it to be considered hemp. And then marijuana is not legal federally, but is legal in over half the states. And medically, almost, I don't know, we're like up to 90% medical now, I think, at least 80% medical. And it's all cannabis. It's all cannabis. What I think is brilliant now in the marijuana industry is you have auto-flowering, and auto-flowering is the use of the little-known cannabis called ruderalis, which is the only auto-flowering cannabis on the planet, but it didn't really have any benefits euphorically or for fiber or grain or anything. It's the shortest of all the cannabis plants. And now what we're seeing is the breeding of cannabis ruderalis, so we can get auto flowering, so you can shorten the time of your flowering. But anyway, which we've really been doing with the manipulation of lights. That's why the whole thing went indoors, is because you manipulate the lights and you make it. That's how it flowers in nature. It reads, it knows the light cycle. And so when, the light cycle starts to change, that's when it goes to flower. Whereas again with auto flowering, it's just a certain amount of time, and it shortens that time. But yes, there is a third cannabis out there, very little known about, and I've always known about it. And that's the one thing that I've always learned in all the research that I have done on cannabis over the years, is that this ruderalis, and I don't even know if I'm saying that right, ruderalis strain of not strain, I believe it would be species of cannabis existed, but again, because it was very short, and apparently, over time, humans realized that it had no euphoric value or food value, fiber value, so they left it alone. And then again, that's why I think sativa ended up being more of what we call industrial hemp. The fibers that, the sativa is what they were coming up with in the Fertile Crescent. I think both for the fiber, because they were using the material for fiber, and grain, either way, because that's I think the one that grew the tallest and then had maybe the biggest flowers. I don't know. You could probably debate that. And so that's kind of what ended up being what we call industrial hemp now, growing it for the grain, for the food, growing it for the fiber. And now, of course, the stalk, which they used to leave in the field when they broke it up, that shiv, that herd that we make hempcrete out of, just was left in the fields. And so now we found a great reason to use it. Again, it's one of those things where we are we're very close to having legitimate markets to use 100% of the plant. And so, the roots got a little bit to catch up to, but they have value if you wanted to pull the whole plant up by the root. And the leaves, and the leaves are catching up too, because we're finally starting to see products or byproducts made from the hemp leaves. So, yes, you have legalized cannabis. Yes, you called it hemp. That was the clear wording in the 2018 Farm Bill. So thanks for knowing your plant science there, national agricultural people. Anyway, so this has been in discussion for a while now, and the theories that were always out there is that CBD counteracts the side effects of THC. Okay, I've always not backed it up and said, well, the only thing it would really do is if it makes you calm, it's going to make you more calm, maybe. Now, what science is showing is they've been doing some studies, is the fact that CBD actually enhances the effects of THC. Okay, now I don't want to make it sound like it makes it stronger. I think that what it does is, again, it's that what they call the entourage effect. It's all these things, the terpenes, the alcohols, the sugars, the cannabinoids, all these things together are what, change or make the effects of cannabis. And so, I think that, and again, that's why we have bred so many different cannabis cultivars or strains in the world, is because, again, you bring that one terpene in, and then you up the CBD and you up the THC, or you bring the THC down a little and you up the THCA, or you up the CBG, up the CBN, and all these things, and you get that. The formula is, again, and then this is how it affects us medically, so to speak, or therapeutically. I'm not giving medical advice. I am not a doctor, but how it can help certain people with certain things, just like CBD. And so, this it doesn't surprise me. I think that it does clarify a myth or a rumor that became a myth about CBD and THC interaction. And so, I think that, again, a lot of people like the 1-to-1 ratio CBD THC. And that's a very little amount of CBD compared to THC, in my opinion. But maybe that once again helps balance things out and makes everything work the way they want it, which is what science would say, or is saying, one way or another. How about this? It's a sweatshirt, and it's an Imogene Willie Bolt sweatshirt. Willie Bolt or won't he? I don't know. It's kind of fun, super expensive, but it is actually, the Bolt is hand sewed, made in America, and it is obviously it's a cotton hemp blend in the sweatshirt, which we see quite a bit. Usually it helps bring the cost down. In this case, this is, I guess more fashion than it is really clothing, and the two are different sometimes. But this is kind of fun. And then they do actually have a version of a natural color with a black. I couldn't get a good picture of it, but it's a natural color with a black lightning bolt going down the front of it. So, if you're in the market and you got an extra bunch of cash to spend, go out there and find yourself this Imogene plus Willie Bolt. So they collaborated, whoever this Imogene and Willie Bolt are, to make this sweatshirt. And I found it, I believe you can find it at uncrate.com. So, if you got the money to spend, good on you. Spend all the extra money that you have on hemp, whatever you're buying.
Right.
For the rest of us, we'll, find $35, $45 hemp sweatshirts and buy those. And then also a lightning bolt on myself.
Yeah.
And look how much money I've saved. And it'll be a hemp lightning bolt because I have the material for that.
That's right.
Yeah. So the New Jersey, is New Jersey or New York? I think it's New Jersey. I think I got this right. The new laws there are already getting challenged, and I didn't actually figure out what they were doing. But they're getting challenged. And then, and on a good note, Missouri sales on intoxicating hemp and whatnot are actually returning, because the second attempt of the governor to now do an emergency thing got turned over, or I don't know who has the power to veto whatever the governor of Missouri did after the first failed attempt of trying to pass something or get something passed through their whatever's is done. And so there was about a month there where intoxicating hemp was questionable whether it was legal or not legal in Missouri. It is now legal, so you can go and find your stores that sell those said products and purchase them legally, if you so desire. And that's in Missouri. I mentioned already that California's governor passed an emergency ban. No THC, I believe, is what they passed. And so I mentioned Cheech and Chong is leading. They're leading a group of industrial hemp people to sue the state there too on that one. And that's ridiculous too. Again, it's like, that's going backwards in California, which again just shows you that his hands, he is clearly in the pockets of the marijuana industry. That's what's going on in these places, especially where like they're making stuff so far backwards on industrial hemp that they do something like this, that just means that once again they're just clearly in the pockets of the marijuana businesses, which are fighting against industrial hemp. Which is again, it's cannabis versus cannabis. I wonder. That's what we're gonna have a trial: cannabis versus cannabis. Now that might be, I'm coming after you, cannabis. Wait, no, I'm for cannabis. Wait a minute. What? Wait, who's Okay. Oh yeah, and so speaking of the California laws, which have just gotten changed and make it just like once again ridiculous things when it comes to CBD and industrial hemp. But ironically, USC, just got a huge sponsorship from a CBD company. So I don't know if I don't think they renamed their stadium or anything, but you see these things going on out there. And so it's really kind of funny that the University of Southern California now has taken a huge sponsorship from a CBD company that may not even be able to sell their products anymore. Because if it's full spectrum, and from my understanding, if it's a full spectrum hemp product, then it's not legal in California because that's got a little bit of THC in it. And they're saying no THC in industrial hemp products, which means, as far as I would once again guess, you can't grow hemp for any purpose in California. You can't make a pair of jeans out of hemp in California because, that still has a little bit of THC in it. And if THC is now illegal other than in the medical marijuana or I'm not even sure if California has recreationally. To be honest with you, I mean, I know their medical is wide open as anything.
Yeah, they're recreational too.
They are recreational finally.
Yep.
I feel like one of the first times they tried to do rec, it didn't pass, and it was because the medical was against anyway. But okay, good.
Yeah.
But again, that makes it even more absurd that they're so against, and this is exactly what it is. They're fighting the marijuana industry in California is fighting the hemp industry. It's just crazy. Anyway, Renew, which is a company based in New York. It's a collaboration of U.S. and German companies. They're going to manufacture molded fiber packaging, and so these to me look almost like cup holders. I don't know what kind of packaging this is for, or if this is just an example of what they're going to be doing. But as you know, you can either 3D print or injection molding hemp composite. So making packaging out of hemp composite is a great idea. Great idea. They eventually hope to open 10 factories in the United States. They're going to start with 4, and the first one won't open until 2026. So the real impact of this isn't yet to be seen, but once again, supply and demand, it's economics. So if they can supply it, hopefully they can raise the demand as far as eco-friendly packaging. No longer you can stop drilling for oil and making things out of plastic, which makes terrible waste, and plastic lasts forever. I would only venture to say that most of this hemp packaging that this company is going to make is going to be biodegradable, and some of it may even be compostable. If you don't know, that's just a time frame. So if something's compostable, it breaks down to nature in 2 to 3 months. For something to be biodegradable, it really just means that it breaks down to nature eventually, and it's usually sooner. I shouldn't say eventually, because plastic does that too, but it's 500 years later. I think it's like 8 to 10 months they want, or a year. If it breaks down in less than a year, then that's considered something that's biodegradable. And once again, comes from nature, goes back to nature, and doesn't disturb the water system or any of those things. Just does it naturally. And so, the rumor is that we can replace 60 to 70% of the plastic in the world with hemp composite. This is a great start. This is a huge start. I think that I think that the industrial hemp farming has at least established itself well enough in the United States that they can see that they can get the supply they need to make these products, and they definitely foresee. And again, that boosts the production of non-CBD hemp farming. And we need, once again, more farmers. We're going to need more farmers to grow this. In order for that to happen, we need to loosen up a lot of the stuff that we're doing with industrial hemp still. Really want to have the average farmer move over into the industrial hemp growing world to keep up with the demand. And so we got to do this. And so thank you, Renew. And again, it's a Colorado company and a German company. And of course, the German company doesn't surprise me at all, because Germany has been manufacturing hemp composites for 30 plus years. Yeah, since before we opened in 1995, Germany has been producing hemp composites, mostly for the automotive industry, for 30 plus years now. And so, we're way behind here in the United States, but, if anybody can catch up and do what's right, and that's what I've always said, is once we legalize and our farmers were growing it, we're going to take all the technology that we have and all that, bring it into a modern hemp manufacturing world. And we are literally able to make just about anything that we can come up with that's a suitable substitute for some other item that is probably not as earth friendly or sustainable. Even with your old school hemp, it's 5 to 6 months and you've got an entire crop. Some parts of the country you can probably grow 2 crops in a year. It's that threshold of cold, I suppose, or and it really is a light issue, I suppose, now that you bring it up. And so you got to have the right light movement, I suppose, to really get it to do what you want it to do. But there you have it. I don't really have any events. I do have a question that I saw it was a headline in an article, and it was, should intoxicating hemp products be banned? And I would say 100% no. No. Once again, we have proven in this world, in America for one thing, that banning cannabis does not work. Okay? So now all of a sudden, this is what you have all of the sudden, as ban intoxicating hemp. Ban intoxicating hemp. Now you've created a black market intoxicating hemp industry. Okay, there is no black market intoxicating hemp industry right now. There's nobody selling, black market Delta 8 cards. It does not exist. Again, and when I say it doesn't exist, yes, somebody might be, but it might be literally 1% of the legitimate intoxicating hemp market. And so there's obviously, once again, a demand for this. And the only thing that I'm for is age restrictions. If you want to put age restrictions on it, I can say okay to that in one sense. But other than that, once again, if you go to banning it, and when you ban it, then you will create a black market. And so what that's going to do is create a black market. And most more than likely, that black market's going to hit the kids first.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not going to hit the adults. Adults aren't going to be walking down the street looking for black market or intoxicating hemp products. But kids that can't buy those products but for age restriction purposes anyway, somehow that's going to get in front of them. So you're really, by banning it, you're making it more unsafe for kids. Okay? Again, I'm not saying it's right that if a kid gets his hand on an age-restricted product, which happens, but at least that age-restricted product is somewhat regulated, or can be held accountable, even if it's an adult buying it for a minor. Okay, if something happens, at least you've got a chain. When it comes to black market, who knows? Who knows? You don't know, and all kinds of things are going to go wrong there. And so, at the very least, banning intoxicating hemp makes intoxicating hemp more unsafe to all of us. Again, if I do want to go find my, because that's what worked for me when I needed it, was one of these intoxicating hemp things, because we know that cannabis things work differently for everyone when it comes to cannabis. And that's the good thing about having all of these products and having them in a market that has oversight. Again, even if you're going and buying these at the gas station, okay, somehow something goes wrong, you can at least, there's a chain there that you can hold somebody responsible for. When you have to rely on a black market for anything, there's no chain there. Okay, you're not going to go back to your drug dealer and say, I need to know who's making these and what they're putting in them, and is it going to kill me? It's not going to happen. Okay, fentanyl's proven that, and that's true with anything. I mean, and there would be more chance if you had a black market gummies that somehow fentanyl would end up in those somehow. Okay, the rumor of fentanyl being added to flour is ridiculous. Okay, but I'd be more likely to believe that if someone was trying to sell you black market gummies because you wanted them to chill you out, and some asshole might put some fentanyl in those gummies. And so, hey, let's not make a black market for something that doesn't have one. And again, it's a step backwards and the overall benefit of cannabis legalization and responsibility, for that matter. I mean, if you're really trying to help the kids, and once again, make it so kids can't buy it, put it on the stores, put it on us, put it on the retail industry to do the right thing, and sell it to adults if that's what you truly believe is the solution. But that's the only thing. Once again, leave it so I can be held responsible, or at least the products that I buy, whoever I buy those from, can be held responsible, and not someone you have no idea, one way or another. So intoxicating hemp products should not be banned. Cannabis should be legal in all its forms everywhere. And again, if you want to put age restrictions on that, I'm not against that. But that's really the only thing. And it behooves you to buy products if you're a retailer from someone that does obviously have COAs and legitimate testing results to make sure that it does have in it what they say it does, and it doesn't have in it what you don't want it in, chemicals or anything like that, which is something that's that is also something that the black market cannabis industry does not regulate. And if anything, once again, that is something that is unhealthy for humans, to rely on a black market that may have definitely things in the product that's not healthy. And we've always, that's the way it's always been. And I remember back in the day knowing, when something had too much chemicals or whatever, And we don't want that now anymore than we ever wanted it. But now we have oversight. I've also realized recently how it is for shady sons of peoples to fake COAs, which, that's not cool either. That's not cool at all. So again, it is what it is. And that's why I suppose the only thing that you can really count on is making sure that the lab that did the COAs is legitimate. And you almost have to double check that, because apparently it's super easy just to fake these things and no one pays any attention really. And so as a retailer, someone buying the product, that's my job. That's my job to pay attention. And if someone's lying to me, then I'm inadvertently lying to my customers. And as they say in law, the ignorance is no excuse. But it's it is what it is, and it is part of the industry as to why, once again, it needs to be legal and legitimate, not illegal. And none of the testings. No one's going to ask for a COA from anybody if they're buying it on the black market. And we've seen that in most places where it is banned, that gets challenged and overturned. And so about the only thing that really seems to work long term are the age restrictions. We'll see how it really works in Georgia with stricter licensing for companies. And again, they just probably want an extra tax dollar somehow, track it tax dollar wise. I'm okay with the enhanced testing, so to speak. So you have as much information as possible. I'm all for that. I mean, again, that shouldn't be the law. That should be the standard with companies that make these products and expect customers to buy them, as to do enhanced testing for that matter. Give me as much information as you can there. I'm for that as well. So, all right. There you have it, folks. Thanks, everybody, for watching the High Noon Hemp Show today, whether you're watching, if you're watching not live, thank you for that as well. We'll be back next week for another good show of good stuff. See what's going on in the hemp world. Until then, remember, reduce, reuse, recycle, make everything else out of hemp. Happy hemptations.
See y'all next week.